Good morning, traders and investors around the world. Welcome to this Monday, August 30th edition of Pre-Market Prep with StockOdds. Joel Elconin manning the controls, the charts. Rob Friesen talking about the trading action and trading setups, not only for today, but heading into the end of the month. And maybe he could pull the crystal ball out from behind his desk and tell us about the Friday jobs number as we enter the stormy month of September. No surprise here. Green on the screen, up 19.25 handles, slight dip overnight. Pre-market low was never in jeopardy this morning, a 0075. You could even be a cheapie like me and buy the close at 0550. You could even be a more cheapie like me and try and buy the top of Friday's range at 10 even, because 1050 is the high. 25.25 is your current high. Current target on the upside, 36.75. Crude, you think it might be getting a boost from the hurricanes and the operations offline, but no, down a dime here, 68.64. Gold, man, we got to clear 1850 before we have 1840 before we have any fun. That's down 630. 18.1320. Silver back under 24, down 14.5 cents at 23.96. Bitcoin futures down 550. Triple top working at the 49.5 area. Ethereum futures, they're down $67.75. That has three highs in the same area, but not as tight. I'm gonna should I release the screen here? Oh, yeah, I'm going to release the screen here for a second. Bring in Rob Friesen. Rob, I asked you online or offline before we came on, how do you make me permanently bullish? Well, first of all, full disclosure, I am long-term portfolio. I whatever. I trade short-term stuff. I do go long also, but I can never hold those longs like I hold the shorts. But Rob, come on. How are you going to make me permanently bullish?
Well, I mean, I always get asked the question, does history really matter? Because everything's new, we got science and innovation, and we got quantitative easing, and we got stimulus of all sorts, and we got low interest rates, for as far as I can see. So isn't the world different? And does history even matter? Well, do you remember one day when Mexico City was kind of doing its earthquake, preparations, sort of their drills in the morning? What happened later that day? Couple of years ago. Do you remember?
Mexico City, it had a hurricane.
No, it had an earthquake.
Oh.
And what day did that fall on?
I don't know.
The same day that it happened in 1985 with the magnitude 8 earthquake, and then they got a 7.1 or 2 that did some more damage on the same day. Let's talk about Ida.
Katrina.
No, let's talk about Ida. Did it not fall on the same day as Katrina?
Well, that's what I was saying. It was. Yep.
Exactly. So, I mean, isn't there something weird about how history repeats itself? I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? Like, that's stuff of movies, right? Well, here we got another big hurricane, barreling in and did some damage. I mean, the levees held, which is great and all that, exactly. But there's still a lot of damage, right? So it's just strange. And I think that history repeats itself more often than people give it credit for. So when we look at our numbers, we like to say, okay, what is the seasonal context? And can this stuff repeat itself? And I give it some weight, especially as we come into certain days and certain events. Like, I mean, it's not hard to think about how do retail stocks perform, around Black Friday. How do markets generally perform ahead of long weekends, or you know, again, around that Thanksgiving event where we got a half day and then we got the Cyber Monday and all that. Like, how do things generally perform? So there can be some changes, but there's still that constant drumbeat of history repeating itself and sort of business as usual. So when we look at, you asked me the question, how am I going to get you more bullish? I think you have to look at our data and give it some, you know, acknowledgement, as it were. Like, well, it's one thing for us to discuss it. It's another thing to really utilize it day to day as one piece of your workflow and one piece of, you know, the consideration for what the day may hold. So if we look at just open to close coming in from Friday's close until what we're expected today open to close, we've got SPY at odds of 62.2, so performing positively, right? So if you're trading the E-minis, you're generally, you know, really related to what those.
What did you have today, Rob? I'm sorry, on the SPY?
Odds are 62.2 of an up day open to close. So Diamond's a bit weaker, and so Russell gets some confidence vote, and SPY gets some confidence vote. And actually, if you look at the percent V as well, so combine both indicators, it bumps up the Qs a bit more. Again, SPY is still coming in pretty nice at 62.7. So that's just open to close. So we can look at, you know, the day's perspective. We can look at what's happening for the week, things like this. I got to show you some funny stuff here on the seasonality. So if we go to August, the last trading day of the month, and just look at some of the symbols, you notice Tesla has odds of 87.5 of being up for the day. This is just the last trading day of the month, so up 2.39%. So the context is this: overall, the last trading day of August on the indices is supposed to be down slightly, okay? Not a huge amount, but down slightly. And that's in keeping with about 9 out of 12 months of the year where the last trading day is down, okay? So, but these symbols here are going to have the probability of bucking that trend. And these ones here are obviously in agreement with that trend, right? So we see some good technology stuff here, and we see, you know, some like Boeing and, you know, stuff like that over here that should not perform very well. So one thing that's different on these dashboards than the web screener I just showed you, everything's reflected from odds, you know, that you want over 50. So basically, this is odds of going up this amount on average, and these are odds of going down on average by that amount. So you want the higher the number, the better in both cases. Just realize that. When I go to the web screener, it's because we have all the data in there, and it's from 0 to, you know, to 1 essentially. It's the other way around. So if you see something less than 50, that would be more of a short orientation, and if you see it better than 50, would be more of a long orientation. Okay, but going back to the screener now, watch this. I'm going to go to the first day of September and put that in there, if it will let me. There we go. First trading day of the month. Now look at Tesla. Same odds, was 87.5 of being up over 2%. For the first trading day of the month, it has odds of being down. So you can get some incredible alerts through this about what to watch for and possibly how to position yourself. So imagine Tesla, you know, up a bit today, up tomorrow handsomely, and then you go into the first trading day of the month and it's expected to be down. A lot of people might hold it overnight thinking, oh, well, you know, first day of the month's going to be great for Tesla, blah, blah, blah. This tells you an opposite story here. So it's really important to get these insights so you don't get yourself caught or presumptuous or whatever.
Well, also, I mean, also looking at this because we don't always have people that are prone to short the market. But maybe if you're looking for a potential exit along, use these numbers, use these probabilities, use, both ways as to perhaps play it long into
Right.
that and then
Right.
exit along and trade short. I think that's one problem I have is I identify a resistance point and I'm like, hey, I'm going to short it there. Instead of using the alpha of the market going up and saying, yeah, it's going to go there. Well, get long first and play it. So,
Right.
make sure you're using these numbers, or the setups or the probabilities from StockOdds. Make sure you're using them both ways and,
So yeah,
keep your focus.
so the last sort of 8 to 10 years being a little bit heavier weighted than the previous 50 years. This is kind of what you see for the month of September is performance on the SPY is supposed to be down. So when they talk about it being, one of the worst performing months of the year, yeah, it generally has been. And so as we roll into September, the first trading day of the month is down. So you got to think about that aspect too. So the day that you have good odds for the market, what do you want to do? You want to play strong stocks in strong groups in a strong market generally, right? And weak stocks in weak groups in a weak market. That's working with the flow of traffic. Now, that being said, we're still looking for mean reversion. We're still looking for excess. I'll give you an example. The things that worked out the best from January, February, and March of this year were the shorts off the open. Why? Because people were paying way too much for the opportunity. So things were bid up on pre-market and at the open, they were bid up far too much. So the shorts worked out really good. And often that was the high of the day for many symbols, even though the indexes kept going up all the time. The shorts were giving you that advantage. That sort of started to change in April, and then going into May, then the longs gave the advantage. So not the shorts as much. And
Rob, I got finish up with this point, and then I got something good for you.
That's persisted all the way till now. We're still in a bullish sort of market where you want to be like, every time I generate my lists, there's more long selections than there are short selections. I mean, I shorted today HFC. That was nice. I shorted, what else did I short? Yeah, hard pressed. I got spiders on short against the longs, but mostly longs.
All right. Well, that's good. All right. Well, I got something for you, Rob, that I bet you don't even have in StockOdds. And I think you're going to be working feverishly over the next week to figure this out.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Hit me.
What do you have for sell Rosh Hashanah by Yom Kippur?
What day is that? September 11th?
No, the Erev Rosh Hashanah. Actually, it's kind of mixed up this year. The last trading day will be Friday because the actual first night of the holiday is Monday, which is Labor Day. So it would be selling on Friday and then waiting until Yom Kippur to buy it back.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Generally, isn't it a little bit more bullish going into a long weekend?
Yeah, well, that'd be a good. I'm just telling you, I'll be doing my article on it, and it's just a trend. It's something that's persistent on Wall Street for a long time.
Well, let's see what the first Friday of the month is showing down for the SPY in September. So this is September 1st. Friday is showing down, even though it's ahead of the long weekend. So typically we have good sentiment going into a long weekend, but we got to pay attention to what this is saying, plus possibly what you're saying. So you're saying that the sentiment would be to sell on the Friday, buy it back on the Tuesday.
Well, it's let me see. No, it's a little bit more extended here. Let me see Yom Kippur here, because what the saying is that there is Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish people, they want to be cleansed of, it's when you get ready to atone for your sins. It's the new year and everybody's happy, so they want to sell their investments, they want to get out. And then during the 10 days when they reflect between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, they're just thinking about atoning for their sins. And then the Day of Atonement is actually Thursday the 16th. So it would be sell on Friday, this Friday, and then buy back on, it would be, the way it turns out with the holidays, it would be 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, it would be September 17th, just because of the way the holidays fall, and then the open trading day. So it'd be sell on this Friday and then buy back on Friday, September 17th. I'm sure you don't have anything for StockOdds on that, but
well, no, but here's the thing. Look, if you did that, look at the third Friday. Look at how it underperforms. If you have an opportunity,
okay.
If you have an opportunity to buy on that day, being a really underperforming day, then the next weeks all the way to the end of September are more bullish. So the way that September's performance generally goes is it's performs better in the latter part of the month and performs
maybe that's, yeah.
So if you plan on your calendar for that combination of the opportunity to buy on the 17th, then the weeks following, you'll get your lift, right?
Okay. And the other thing, well, it's really hard to document this, is because the holidays go according to the Jewish calendar, which has an extra month. So it's not, like Christmas is always the same day, whatnot, different day of the week, but it's always same numbered day. So this is a very early year for the Jewish holidays. Sometimes you can push it all the way, into mid-October. So it varies. So anyways,
question for you, basically bringing the Jewish calendar into the equation would infer that, there's a lot of Jewish bankers, money managers, larger investors, so do you think that community is still as robust and active in the markets as it's always been?
I think it's more happenstance. I think they are, but it's just an old saying, so I think that machines and bots and StockOdds are more responsible for the moves in the market. It's just something fun to talk about and write about. But this year,
here's a question for you that comes to mind. I don't know too much about the Jewish structure of things, but let's say that they're not allowed to be active in the markets on a particular day.
That's for the Orthodox. Yes.
Okay. So that's considered work. But if you automated it and your computer was doing the work for you, does that qualify?
That's a great question. I personally don't. Question. Yeah, for me personally, I don't open my platforms and I don't do any trading in those days, and I'm far from Orthodox. But anyways, do you have the other setups that you want to talk about?
If you're not allowed to flip a light switch on because that's work, what if it's an automated motion sensor and the lights come on when you enter the room?
Yep. You're getting ahead of things, but S&P's bursting out here. 45.30 up 24.25 handles.
Stop shorting it, Joel. Stop shorting.
I'm done. I did a little bit and I covered it, and then I was going to buy a break out of the opening range, and my order's still there. I guess I should have put it there the second time, but no, I'm not. My new method is going to be, whenever I do cover short, I'm putting in an extra lot. And
so let's just discuss this backdrop, because I think it's really important. So again, even with this hurricane, there's a GDP increase. From any disaster, you see, the rebuild. I mean, it just increases GDP.
Yep,
So
you said, Rob, you said that a while ago. You
I
said that
know.
a while ago when you were talking about there was another hurricane, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Out there. Yep, yep, yep,
Well,
yep.
the one that kind of came into, the Boston area and
Yeah,
so on, right?
yep.
But it does. It's part of, people always look at it as negative. Now, that being said, I did take the insurers and some financials out of my list today. And the reason for that is I didn't like this sort of negative interest rate trend again that we're, like, it's not helpful for money center banks. And I didn't like the impact of, the hurricane on insurers. So I just removed them. So
Exactly.
you can always do that. If you had them in your list and they were part of your, you took odds on them, you can remove
Why don't
something,
you
right?
short the Goldman Sachs then? Why don't you do what I said,
Why would I?
reverse it?
What? No, no. Here's the thing. One thing that's important to be mindful is when you create a workflow and a structure, and you have rules, such as you buy strong stocks in strong groups in a strong market. Then let's say, for example, something runs up too much, and you go, well, I missed the buy on it, therefore now it's a short. So when you
You
start
get
to
yourself in trouble
when
doing
you
that.
start to do that, when you start to flip on yourself, on your own rules, because you see something else, you usually get run over, right? It just happens. So the best thing to do is, if you miss something, you missed it. The train
Move
left the
on.
station. It's fine,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly. No revenge trading here, Rob.
Well, that's
Uh,
exactly the word. I mean, that is what happens to a lot of people, is revenge trading, right? And I think everybody's experienced it to some degree out of frustration. And the noise can get under your skin. And I realized that years and years ago when I started trading, and it's like, man, this noise gets under your skin. So made effort to become a noise trader. So what's the difference? A noise trader is looking for business as usual, is looking for the ability to find mean reversion safely and
mhm.
within your rules based system. So that's why I keep saying boring is beautiful all the time, because you don't have to be on the cutting edge of news trying to figure it out. But I know a lot of people love the action. It's a video game. It's like, let's go after the things that have moved the most. You remember I mentioned that SPTR I didn't get a locate on. So, obviously I'm thankful I didn't get a locate on it, because it did go up that day. But the next day, did you see it really took off? So it's like you play with those names, you play with
What is
fire.
what's that support.com? It's SPRT.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
So
hanging
anyway,
out.
it had a huge move the other day, right?
Yeah, it's
Um,
still moving. It's
it's
still
still moving.
moving.
Well, it's like, look at the volume surged. I think it surged to like 162 million shares or something.
Yeah.
Um, you know, when the mobs gang up on these things, they can go crazy. So I don't want to be, a part of that type of opportunity, either on the long side or on the short side, only because on the long side, you got to babysit it like crazy. And if it flips on you and you try to get out, those things usually move very, very fast, and you
All right,
get
Rob,
stuck.
why don't you release the screen here? And I just want to talk about one stock. And then in the meantime, I want you to look up Zoom.
Okay.
For Andrew Garber, they have earnings, and I have no idea what the earnings are going to be or what their guidance is going to be. I absolutely love the platform. Even I can use it. So ease, it's just, trades a high PE. I don't own the stock, but we'll have Rob pull that up with this SPRT. The only thing I just want to point out, we talked about this morning, and you did. I thought it's a 41 print after hours, but not. No, that was in the regular session. I must have just been dreaming that. 43.17 is your high, just inside day. So we'll just wait on this one and maybe play it after the inside day. But holding up here, okay, today. I also just wanted to talk about Generac and My analysis was probably a little too bearish this morning, as far as, where the stock would go. Gave some intermediate levels, but I guess the only one I should have given to you is the all-time high. And that was 457. And that was the only level that really mattered today. It went to 458.10. I had mentioned some closes, some old-time closing high areas, and it doesn't look right now, it's in retreat. So you got to keep your eye on your levels to make a new all-time closing high today for Generac. You need to close, I believe, right around where we're trading now. So that's still my focus number for the day. Just a little bit early, 449, 449.64 all-time closing high. All right, let's
Do you want
Zoom.
a comment on that?
Yeah,
So,
no, go ahead. Comment on it.
So Generac for today, right? Based on, of course, what it's been doing. So this is again, did we know a hurricane was coming in the last few days?
Yep.
Okay. So, you can have a completely different experience when you factor in the overnight gap versus when you actually trade it from open to close or at some point during the day. Remember, you can generate any kind of list and you can say this, just like, a card counter at blackjack would say, if the card count is favorable, then I bet more. And if it's unfavorable, I bet less, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so if I have a list that I want to be involved in and the market brings it to me, when you let the market go first and bring something to you and then you get to participate on your terms, that can be very, very advantageous. So you either have a choice to go from the open to the close or open to your target, or you can have a watch list and go, I'll go from, some price point that I want to the close or to another target. So anything's possible. The key is this. If you have a probabilistic backdrop for your trading, you're going to be ahead of the people that are only making suppositions, presumptions, and just looking at charts trying to figure out where something's going to go. So Generac this morning was doing what?
Trading
gapping
high.
up,
Yep.
gapping up for one, and then of course we see this a lot, even in the SPY. You saw how the SPY popped up this morning right away and then pulled back, right? And now it's gone up higher. But that type of action is been pretty common sort of all through August and even parts of July. So keep that in mind, that just because something is going up doesn't mean it's going to continue to go up, right? It's just it's sort of an opening blow off thing that's happening. Okay, but if you look at the chart for Generac, you can pull it up on your screen, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
So you can see how it moved higher right after the open, but the odds for the day open to close are less than 50, 46.3. So negative performance just for the day of minus 0.24%. So that's from the open to the close. So if you were like looking at it, oh, hey, it's already gapped. It's, what do I want to do with it? You could say, oh, I'll wait and see how it performs. You would have had an opportunity to put that thing on at an amazing price after the open. And you would be then even better favored than what the odds are saying here from open to close. You'd be able to improve on it because you're getting a better starting point than the open.
Yeah, so there's some massage.
Let's think about that for a second.
Yeah, but right. That's that there's some if ands there.
No,
right.
No. Let's go over this. If it's on your watch list and you have odds for it on how it's going to perform from the open to the close on average, after the things that it's done previous to that, that's what it's based on, and you have it on your watch list, then you want anything better than the open price because you already have odds on the open to close.
I gotcha.
What's the harm of waiting for it to move half an ATR or a full ATR before you get involved if it does that? So you could have an outcome like this. oh, it opened and it's starting to drop. I guess I missed it if you didn't participate at the open, right? Or you could have it on your watch list and go, wow, this is exciting. It's giving me
A premium. Yep.
no, listen, that's what Bob Bright taught me how to do with my shorts when I was having a problem when I first started Bright in 1998. That's many years ago, 23, I guess. And I said, I'm having trouble with shorting. And he said, split your order into two. So whatever you want to short, if it's 1,000 shares, do it 500 and then leave. Don't do the other 500. Just wait. And when it moves, you know, a certain percentage, we were basing it on standard deviation at that point. So when it moves a certain percentage, then short your other half. So what will that do for you is it'll give you the staying power and not get sort of shaken when it starts moving against you. And you're actually rooting for it to move a bit higher. So my point is this. With Generac, if you had odds on open to close already, and you knew that it had already run prior to this news event, and the performance was supposed to be, you know, poor for the day, well, then anything better than the open price is going to give you even more advantage than you had from the open to close. So like make some rules, like I have a watch list, you know, I'd like to get involved, but it's kind of a story stock. So let me give it, you know, some breathing room. I'll do a half an ATR or a full ATR or 80% of an ATR, whatever your rules are. Make sense?
Sure does. All right, we're going to wrap things up here with this on this Monday.
You wanted Zoom? You wanted Zoom for
No,
today?
don't have time to do Zoom.
Okay.
I'm just gonna look at it technically here. We're going over. People are gonna, you know, getting more than they paid for. Low of the move for 331.35. That's 13 points away if you're leaning on that. Don't know if I want to be short going into the report, just the way it's come off that $400 level. First spike up, 357.93. But Rob, we'll take a look and we'll discuss stocks with earnings and stock odds. We'll see how Zoom turns out today and overnight. Just a quick reminder, the information on the show is for informational purposes only. Please consult your own independent financial advisor before making any investment or trading decisions. Thanks for joining me today, back at 3:30 with At the Close. And of course, back here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., Pre-Market Prep Plus, and 10:30 back here with Rob again, Pre-Market Prep with Stock Odds. Everyone have a good day.